I am live. Poor connection, but we don't need it to be super clear. It's just one of those things where I want to be able to read if anybody's sending me a question. I'm gonna just set it on a better angle here so I can be better in the screen. So let me know if anybody's out there or when somebody might come. This is Tin Man. If you're just checking in, I do Bigfoot exploring research. I have lots of stuff on my channel proving their existence in many ways. Is it hard for you to believe me? I guess it could be. If you watch a person and you get to know the person, like I've been doing this for over a year now, and I've been uploading videos for a few years. So, you know, a personality can really shine through in those cases. So what I'm doing, I think I can switch sides too and show you where I'm actually at. Want to check that out? So this is where I be. For anybody who's curious where I might be, I'm not using their Wi-Fi. I'm using this Wi-Fi at that building there, which happens to be a Staples in Canada. Hey, dude.
I'm gonna go make myself one of them Hindu tents.
Cool. Have a good night. I don't know what that would be, but I guess just with some blankets. I'm sure you heard that. Anybody coming on? Yes, no, maybe somebody's there and they're not able to type. Hey, right on, K-Dub. Not much, brother. Just figured I'd do a bit of a live and put up some, you know, if anybody had any questions or anything like that about what I do, then I could maybe answer them if I'm capable. What about you? What are you up to, man? Just relaxing, kicking back, having some of your 420 or something. Do-do-do. The community center or pool that was getting broken into. That, yeah, out in Vancouver there. Hey, Brown Dwarf, Mr. Brown, how's it going? That was down in Vancouver. Yes, you know, once my name is actually maybe regarded as a bit of a name, as somebody who understands on certain levels, I want to go. I've been down there trying to find the grounds of that place a couple of times. It's actually an aquarium that connects into our inlet there, and I just can't find it. It's, you know, I don't know how it really works there. If I had a boat, I'm sure I could get in there and figure it out a little bit better, but I would love to go there because I know it's going to be them. Like, they're so huge in that area, and they can, now that I really understand what they're like for swimming is just going to be probably second nature, as well as we can almost imagine that they can run. Hello, Mary. Imagine almost how we can imagine they can run. I can imagine they can swim. Yeah, they're going to be just us in some respects, ultimate though. Not saying that they're people, but we do have a similar kind of, you know, two-leg system, two-arm system, 10-digit system, you know, that kind of stuff. So, and then they're, what is the word, ambidextrous or something like this, where, you know, in every way I wouldn't doubt it that they can really get her done. Venom, hey, how's it going? I am doing good. I'm trying to get her done. Do things both-handed? What do you mean? You know, you guys, I know I could be like, you know, I don't know, I talked about it a little bit the other day. It's scary, like it's scary going out there. It's a little bit different. Yes, that's right. In a, yes, that perfectly. Maybe there's an offness difference like we can notice with ourselves. But I'm talking about that word that would mean that they can twist all up like this, and not like double jointed, but their flexibility. There's got to be something that describes the type of flexibility. You know, like prehensile, is that the tail? Or is that the little pouch? You know, I don't know this stuff very well, so whoever's smart out there can fill in that kind of stuff. But anybody got a question? This is a question time and answers if I can. You want to know anything kind of radical? I've done a lot in the last year, I tell you that much, man. Prehensile is tail, okay. I can tell you one of my first trapping stories, catching stories, one of my first hunting a wild animal. So you got to go into your picture of this, okay? So I'm like 3-4 years old. I'm with my other brother. He happens to be deceased now, but he was 2 years older than me, so he is at that 5-6 age. We're in the rec room downstairs, 2-story house, and we have that typical kind of set of stairs that come down the front foyer there, in the midway that would be the front door going out the front. A sister that would be about 17 years old up in the kitchen does a frantic scream thing, freaking out about a rat on the counter eating away at the cake that she had just made. She was a big baker, so she was probably eating it and the rat was eating the other half. But anyways, the rat jumped off the counter, went whipping down the one side of the... You know how they follow the outside wall so many times. So now they're coming down there. Me and my brother are coming out of that rec room. We get a visual, or at least I know I did. I'm sure he would be able to vouch that he did too. Anyways, so it did it directly into that door, straight that way. And what it did, it went under one of those old chest freezers. So, you know, back in those days, Winnie, I had large ones. So let's imagine it being a good 6 feet or something like that, right? Instantly. We're just in there, like we grew up going to, we didn't grow up on farms, but we grew up going to farms all the time, and then being out in the prairies for the summers lots of times, and so on and so forth. And we always got to we got to do so much fun. But anyways, so we're these little kids like that. I right away grabbed the, like, I don't know how we made the plan, but I grabbed the laundry basket, and it was still those ones with the square holes like that, right? I jump up on the freezer. My brother grabs the broom. Just recently I was talking to my other sister that is 5 years older than me. She was also in the room, and she jumped up onto the counters on the opposite side. Community center, yeah, they'll always be around community centers anyways. I'm just finishing this quick story here of just interesting, fun little event when we were kids. Kind of tells you about my world a bit. Anyways, so my brother's under there going like this with the broom and such. All of a sudden it was really like the rat was going right to him, like it was going to attack him. But I'm assuming that it must have been just darting to get out of there, right? But as soon as that happened, man, I'm down off of this, whatever happens, because the rat stalls long enough, or we're just fast enough, or whatever it was. Bang, we caught the thing. My brother's, when it's trying to come through the holes, it was a big enough rat, and you can imagine this, right? That his head was not working through that hole properly. I remember that very well. Anyways, my brother nailing it with, you know, and he's like, I'm telling you, 5-6 years old, and he's nailing it with the broom. And my big sister by then had gotten down there, and she's yelling, get the hammer, and I said, he's dead. I remember arguing about it and all that kind of stuff. Still going, getting the hammer, and she gives it a few more whacks, whatever, and the whole ordeal was over or whatever, right? That was out in Coquitlam, so that was, you know, back in the days, big river rats and stuff out in those ways, right? But so what are you saying then? Did you have activity near community center? They will like community centers. Like I say, they love police stations, they love schools, they love where, exactly what you're saying, where we humans get together. So they love being able to be higher around those places. They love views. They love all the stuff that you would love if you were a sniper. golf courses. Yeah, well, the golf course, they're gonna own the golf course, because I'm telling you, like, there is no doubt in my mind that all that tree symptoms that we look at all the time, it's all them. All them. I one time, not too many months ago, I was trying to get this one arborist type guy onto my channel and stuff. I don't think he ever bit, but I kind of liked his style of his channel, showing his arborist stuff. Anyways, it was really funny, because I'm looking at the tree and I'm thinking, this is them, you know, and this big scoring and wound. It was a while back, so it was still when I hadn't fully put them there, so I was just more looking at all the wounds and stuff, right? And I'm looking at it thinking, oh, that's them. And he comes along with his finger, he even touches the thing and kind of comments that he doesn't have a clue what that was. And it was like, I do. I think I probably said whatever, but you know, it's pretty ghosty stuff talking about Bigfoot. Hey, you guys want to see where I'm at? Boom. Give you a little lit tour or whatever. This is a place where, like, I'm doing my Wi-Fi right from that connected. Let's call them stalkers. Why you say that? Okay, what else did you say? Okay, well, that's one way to think of it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know. They are survivalists. We have to remember that they're survivalists, and they did it different than the natives did it. The natives put themselves out in front, and were willing to be in front of all the humans and fight with them and do whatever. Too much humanness in similarity. So if we really have ever fought with these beings before and stuff, they either got smart to realize that they should be hiding, or they've, you know, in some respects, I can't help but know or figure that they do bad things, right? But on the other hand, I can't help but think maybe there's just a population problem with them, that they're because you think about it. If you're the type of a woman, remember you know, and I'm not making fun, but the Catholic women had all those reputations of 10 children, you know, even some singers, great artists from Canada come from a couple of those background things. Back east here, where they, you know, they came from 10 family kids and stuff, and you look at the mom and she's still 120 pounds or something like that, and it's kind of weird and wild. But now you think about an actual being that's as big as us, if not bigger, and the females minimally have 10, maybe 20. We're not, you know, their feet are so different that this stuff inside can have reproductive stuff and so on and such difference. Yeah, I think we are probably having a baby Bigfoot boom. I think what a lot of people are gonna, this is my thing. I do see different colors going on out there and so on and so forth, and I do see different shapes and so on and so forth. But since I've brought that picture forward that so rightly shows those finger imitations and stuff, almost like they're glasses, sunglasses. And when you look in those pictures, and then you look to those back bushes there, there's a number of more just doing that. And remember, I say these are real cultural creatures. They do a lot of, it's just like us. We all go to Tim Hortons. We all, you know, whatever. We just follow certain cultural things. And one of my clans, I called them the hand grabbing clan, and that's because that's where I discovered they did hand grabbing. And it was for a reason, to cover up their footprint. So they go like this, not realizing they're leaving a hand grab print. You can imagine how that would be in the soil, tossing it on their footprint, whatever, and hiding it up. So that became the hand grabbing. That's when you know, that's different signs like this let me understand the information that it was cultural based, because it's too close together. Maybe I haven't seen it at all where I've been on a place and I've seen hundreds or whatever, tons of different markings by them and such like that. So That's why you hear me talk culture a lot and stuff, because I really have seen a lot of different kind of cultural stuff going on. Oh, my connection's getting weak, it says. You know, and that's what I think, Mary, is that they are being squeezed into tighter places and stuff. When I drive around here and I really see the amount of construction, you don't know until you're driving around again or you're looking for that place out in the country or something. And I tell you, there's a lot of clear, like little property clear cuttings, and I'm referring to like 10 acres and stuff like that. Give it up. So what was that, Tin Man? I have to say that your videos and how you think outside the box is right on. Keep it up. Yeah, I'm just natural. You know, if I, like just that little rat story. I don't know if you were there. I told a rat story where I was like 3-4 years old with my older brother and then a couple of sisters giving us direction or whatever type thing, and how well that stuff came together. I've been learning for a long time, I think, to be this person. Yeah. I got many other stories too like that, but some of them are too crazy to be able to tell. What is your thoughts on Todd Standing? I don't think he really knows much. You know, some guys, I look at them and I think, and I realize they may know more than they think they know yet, or they realize they know yet. I don't think that with him. He will probably start to learn more, but, you know, where's the bullshit with those last couple of pictures he had thing? You know, nothing ever came of that. And, you know, the directional changes and stuff, why isn't there more to it? I seen him do that update talk with, what's his name there, the Survivor man. And just, you know, I laughed, really, I did laugh, because, you know, they're not doing what I say. I say I'm the tracker, and I'm not saying that anybody else will not learn tracking or can't do it. I don't know if Rio's getting it, Venom, to be serious. I haven't checked up on Rio for a while, so I was thinking about that today, just maybe popping in and seeing one of his videos, but I think he's more spooked on being able to get it. I don't know if he's going to have quite that that warrior heart that he needs to make sure he's having. You know, his kids are pretty young and stuff, and to be there, and because we grew up in this world, and you know, he doesn't mind sacrificing, but he doesn't want to fully sacrifice, right? No, and I'm not. Did I see his 3 clips of Bigfoot? No, I'm not. But I did hear his one of noise, of the talking and stuff. And I realized that I'm not saying that he hasn't come across what he's come across and so on and so forth. I'm saying I don't think he's really observing the story on the same level as I am. And it's because he's kind of stopping himself from doing that. That's what I observed a couple of times back. And plus, you know, I'm sorry, but he's got a little bit of a character spin in him, and I don't know. But do we all, Subdwarf, do we all remember that BS thing that was flying around on YouTube? And there was all those animals cut up and deer heads and that. Well, I watched that and I knew that was fake. And I observed it. I even said my stuff on there, and the person tried arguing back and stuff. And I'm sorry to say, but Buddy, I'm just going to say now, was hooked up with another guy before, and I almost get a feeling that those characters did that naughty stuff try to get attention, and did some chaotic, weird deer mutilation thing. And I think there was supposed to be a part 2 coming out. I don't know if I ever seen it, but it was just bullshit. I called it that it was on an elk farm, and those were just leftover pieces that they were able to use and just make guts and all that kind of stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown. David, I will. So, any question, anybody? How many people we got watching? My camera does not show it. Hey, Mr. Brown Dwarf, did you end up listening to your cave video again yet? Can't see it? Okay. But there's a few, obviously, if you're popping up too. Hey, Mr. Brown. Yeah, I don't even know if I've seen Mr. Brown. I can't remember. You haven't listened yet, man? Dude, I'm telling you, you're missing out huge. I haven't even gone back to listen to it to make sure I'm right. But I listened to it, I think, once or twice that moment. And I swear, man, minimally, the droplets inside the cave are fake droplets. And you even comment on them. And that stuff helps me being an observer because I'm aware of your thoughts then. And in all reality, that thought wasn't comfortable with you. So go back to that spot, look at it, and think to yourself about, because you even comment about, oh, I can hear the water droplets, something like that you say. And I tell you, man, that was you actually registering something smart. Yeah. I'm in BC, Canada. On the west coast. I'm about from the Pacific right now where I hang out most of the time. I'm on a river that goes right to it. A nice big wide river. I don't know heights. I can't call a height. So that question was from David. He's saying, what's the tallest Bigfoot? And I don't know heights. I can guesstimate, calculate, but put it this way, I can calculate out the biggest side profile that I have come to see yet. No, I'm not holding my hands like that yet. Anyways, I'm just going to describe it to you how I partly get the measurement. Is we have a fern. We don't have that super wide fern thing that kind of goes this. What's my elevation? I don't know, between 50 and 100 feet or something at this kind of spot where I am. I'm almost at, I wouldn't doubt it if I'm actually standing in a flood zone right now. Yeah, I think I'm in flood area, actually. I am. I'm in flood area, so I'm only the same height as the river, 60 miles back, you know, so it's not very high. Anyway, so I'm back on that thing, close to the U.S. border. Yeah, would take me about 40 minutes, I think, to get to the U.S. border there, and then I would be at Sumas there. And then you have a number of places, 176 and stuff like that. So I'm right by Bellingham. That's whenever I was a kid, whenever I was going for gas, going for something cheap or whatever, going for looking for real hot women in America, I'd go to Bellingham. Anyways, ferns like this, okay? And you know, so about where my fingers are is what a fern would be. You know, those wild kind of ferns, somewhere in this distance. So like this is how the ferns were. And right here is a row of eyes. This is a side profile that you're getting. So we got two ferns here. Back about here is the back of the head. The snout, I got just words up. Got to check that out. So anyways, the snout is somewhere around here. Like, I kid you not. The ferns are right here. I can see it, right? I mean, he's a distance away, but the ferns, two leaves, is exactly what he hides with, uses it as his camouflage. The whole past 10 minutes of recording on two different machines. On one camera, the one you're using, kind of, maybe that one or a different one. And, you know, my other camera I got. So, and I get movement, I get head movement. It's very hard stuff, and it's hard for guys like, are you at, no, on that project. What was this? I got to check that out. You guys, man, no, I don't, you know, I don't get a lot of times on other people's channels. I do so much stuff myself. With that male though, there's times where he does a head turn. Somebody even points out to me about him, I think they asked, why does he flare his nostrils at you? So it was like when he said the word flare, I was so happy to hear that, because I don't think I had ever mentioned it, and so somebody's recognizing it, pointing it out. Yeah, I think pretty much, hey, big-headed Martian, how are ya? I think almost so many times I can thank you very much, big-headed Martian. I think, you know what, I think every time I go out, like, unless I picked a bad spot when I'm going to new locations, but it doesn't seem like I've really done that much. What are you ready for? Memphis? You ready for them to come walking out and just start hanging out with us? I don't think it's coming down to that. I don't think it's necessarily about a communion with us. I think if it was about some kind of a communion with us, then they would be popping out a little bit more often. Do the forest people in BC have... I think probably up in the mountains and stuff where they're a lot more comfortable. There are stuff that goes on, and like my jungle gym, and that's my first finding of my first habitat, I refer to it, and it was a jungle gym motel. And I've never found another location. Well, that one there looks really information-full. Doesn't look like a heap of garbage, the way they've kept it and maintained it and kept it going. And many of the other ones I've come across, you know, they're kind of just more mess stuff. They're big jungle gyms in a lot of ways, really. Thank you very much, big-headed Martian. Just for those people who don't know, he's saying my research is highly respected. That makes me feel really quite honored. Yeah, come on down, big man. Oh, okay. Memphis, Tennessee, I'm guessing. And we won't really know. Yeah, I know, but who wants to interact with them first, Mary? Have you ever thought of coming to the U.S. to research more Bigfoot? Yeah, I've thought about it. For sure I have. Yeah, did you, Memphis, eh? Yeah, I'm sure you did. I've been sick. Oh, big-headed Martian, you've been sick, eh? That's not good. Okay, yeah, this place, right on. So, come on, somebody's got to have a very interesting question. You know, I talk about them breaking down the mountains. You know what? They're just everywhere, dwarf. You know, they're just going to be in the treed areas. You know, there will be different hot spots. 100% there will be different heavier spots, hot spots and stuff like that. There is. But, yeah, we really just have to figure out what their plan is. What are you guys doing here? Why are you guys hanging around with us? What's with this big change? Because you know what I really did, you guys? I don't know if maybe if you haven't stuck with me the whole time, then you might not know this. But I ended up doing a huge traveling of our province here that I live in, British Columbia. And you know this, that British Columbia alone is bigger than probably a lot of the countries out there. I even went on a ferry ride that takes a couple of hours, went over to an island and drove end to end on the island, side to side on the island, did all this kind of research, and then came back here and started researching here. So first my research here, I found one place, 3 weeks, decided go further, found a few more places, decided to go to Vancouver, a missing person report, and then that became an ixnay. She was found, deceased but found, and that, but it didn't put me out of the, I still have thoughts towards that woman. She was drowned, she drowned, right? So anyways, then I went to the break and entry at her Stanley Park and hung out there. Then I went over to the island, I checked all that stuff, been back here, and I see all the increase. One of my biggest things, which I should do in the next couple of days here, but one of my biggest things when I really was feeling it, because sometimes you're really feeling this, like a fear, like what's going on, like are we all safe, are my kids safe, you know, whatever. I went to the campground just because I had the thought, man, I wonder if they go to our campground. So I went to the campground and have located them there. The next night I went there in the evening in the dark, around 9 p.m. I ended up getting growled at and thrashed on trees at and such. At one point I was standing right at that spot where they did that stuff from. So whether they were then and spared me, probably is my guess. And so I don't know if I'm being respected still, because I haven't been, none of that stuff has gone on where they've told me at all to get away from their territory. It hasn't at all. I mean, there's been a couple of bears around and stuff like that, but it's not like they're bringing the bear to scare me. The bear's already in their area. They're hanging out. They're having fun. They're spooking it. They're doing whatever. On that last bear video, I'm kidding you not. Watch the bear. He does a turn like that. They just threw a rock right there. They're getting his attention going again. And when I do that zoom back, look at the telephone pole right there. You see 3 or 4 of them right there. Maybe even a guy standing up, and he's kind of like this. His face is in front of the pole, but his body comes to the side of the pole because there's another body there. So he's kind of using that as his hiding. So you see how they're set. Their shadows and stuff stretch out because they are behind the grass there, but one of our watchers ended up pointing those ones out. I was so happy to see those. But that bear 100% is being distracted first by that rock. I even say it on the video, and then he shoots into the bush. They did whatever to get him to come into the bush. They're very controlled, and so controlled in a way I believe that they're not even going to have what do you call it, I always struggle with this word, but you know, in their natureness, their total natureness, what do we call that? That memory of that anyways, their natural memory, they don't know the Bigfoot. That's what I think with the black bear. Yeah. Because for you to get something like that, in like our humanness, the bear learns more about us as he continues to grow. Remember, a bear can reproduce in 3 years and 4 years. So doing that often is reproducing the whole cycle of that brain and everything, like very quick. Think about it, if we could do that fast, we would be in a different spot too, right? Habitat. No, not habitat. I was kind of thinking about the, thanks though. Just our nature's memory, you know. Tin Man, I have to go. Had fun, right on. Thanks, Venom. Hey, don't worry about it, man. I'm so happy that you were able to pop in. Hit the thumbs if you can. Thumbs are always so appreciated, man. That's what helps spread. If you can, if you find something really interesting, you guys, like if you see something good in my video, a friend to know about it or whatever, just include your friend. Your friend eventually will start to know stuff. They might think it's the stupidest thing. Like, I still say stuff to my family the odd time. Not much anymore. Yeah. Gets pretty heavy if a person's thinking you're weird and stuff, right? So, any questions? It was great hanging out here and doing it like this on the outside. Peace out, everybody. Is everybody gone? No? I got 44 viewers? Holy cow! Peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching. The Tin Man signing off. You will have a good one. You will have a good night. Right on. Take care, brother. Oh, still here? Okay. So, question, anything like that? I've only been going for 34 minutes. Stay safe, Will. Have you ever been scared of an owl? No, I haven't been scared of an owl, but I know that I've had some really cool interactions with owls. Like, I've been scared to run over 2 owls, and I've had some other interactions, so I find that very interesting, especially when people always go with that's kind of as a good thing. But these guys do mimic owls. I know that. That last video where that tree is really full there that I talk about, and I walked the 20 feet closer, you know, within 20 feet and stuff, that somebody walks by talking about the owls at that location. He didn't hear me ask him, but I asked him if he had got a visual on him, and I bet you his answer would have been no, or, you know, something like that. No government cover-up. You know why? You know, one thing about it is, in the government, we're still got people who like to hunt and have guns and all that kind of stuff. So I just think too much information would have slipped out to hunters by now, and we would hear certain hunters, they don't have the information. You know, did you hear me? My tone of voice, I think, almost dropped there when I started to use the word hunting. I totally want discouragement to happen there, and you know how it is. If we don't have super laws, and then there's always stupid people out there. So, and that's a scary thing. I don't know. You know, we're not dealing with something like a tiger. If we went to 100 tigers all sitting there, and well, even if you started popping off at one tiger and they're all hanging out there, they're going to start attacking you. Maybe they won't know if we're hunting them or whatever, but a tiger would be smart enough to be sticking up for its own, just, you know. So will these guys do that same thing? And then how can they not know they're not, you know, they're not masters of the bush, right? Like, they're like, where are they right now? Tin Man's talking about billions. That's what I'm talking about, billions. And where are they right now? I say they might come into this property every night. I don't know. I don't have a good enough study, but we can. You can actually have good enough studies to see how your tree changes every day. Pot growers do it every day. We could do it every day. But we don't have anything like that implemented to back up my stuff, to back up these theories, to back up this true phenomenon that's going on, that's been going on forever, and other arborists and horticulturalists and such are walking up to trees and not understanding why it's like that. And you know, all these trees that are just around here, like, I'm going to turn on the camera the other way, and what you're going to notice is a tree that has this trunk coming up, and then all of a sudden has this compile of true branches coming out like this. That, from back in the day, is information. I'll be right back on the questions. That from back in the day is what they always understood as being like a tree birth defect. And maybe we think we're such good horticulturalists and seed designers and stuff like that, that we created these new trees that do this. We might be naive enough to do that, to actually be thinking that, you guys. So it might make it that much harder to, what I say, actually be established as something. But the truth really be known that they mess around with our trees. And if you go to your different parks and stuff like that, and you check out the different species and see how they're acting different towards each other and stuff, like maybe the leaves on this one are growing brown, and why is it the same tree? Maybe the bark's much different. Why is the bark like this design here and then so beautiful here? You know, there's all kinds of things. And then as you go back, you'll start noticing different things. You'll see that tree now being stripped. Just go visit one tree. Like, trust me, like, it just... like, I watch all these guys walking around in the forest and stuff like that, and, you know, people are willing to look at the ground and see, oh, there's marks on the ground, and a thought process comes to them. Okay, that looks like footprints, that looks that, and stuff like that. Half the time they're convincing themselves by saying that can't be an elk, or they're talking like this or something, instead of just accepting that answer they're first getting. Now start to incorporate a tree. Don't look at every tree, buddy, but look at this tree, like you, Mr. Brown, if you're still here. Just look at the tree and just think about it a little bit. Don't go after tree after tree after tree. Just look at that tree and then come back and look at another tree and start to realize there's different species of tree. And you're a smart guy. I bet you'll start learning leaves. You'll start learning the understandings of trees. You start going that way, man. Bang, you're going to be on the top of the field for... oh, right on. What is needing to be understood? you know, you start looking at your cliffs and stuff when you're driving there. You're going to start noticing, hey, how come that's becoming more bare? Is that because the, like, bare as in the dirt color is changing or something, stuff sloughing and such like that. Not decreasing, what is that you're saying? I don't know about the aliens and stuff, David, because I know one thing, that I don't have a belief that they're connected with what I do research on, in so many times being in the forest and being around so many beings. And if you see my videos and you can see a number of beings, then trust me, I've been around, like, believe probably in the hundreds, and never a UFO. I've stood there, like these guys, you know, somebody asked me about that doctor, he's just over here in Washington, maybe Williams or something. But anyways, there's a couple of them out there, doctors, who think they have some kind of mental telepathy conversations with these beings. The one guy will actually say the words, you know, out of his mouth like this from them or whatever. The way he looks alone is kind of spooky. But anyways, I don't get that at all, and I've stood there and I've actually tried to believe that I'm trying to open my mind for you guys to allow to be, feel free to come to me, tell me what you want to tell me, and, you know, be done with it. Maybe my belief isn't strong enough, some people will believe, but no, it's not up to me if you really think about it. Very bad connection. It's not up to me, it's up to them, isn't it? You know? You know, if I get to stand there and be able to catch these guys on camera, that is because of what they've allowed going down. I mean, I may be a little bit of a searcher. Do you believe Sasquatch population are decreasing? Well, I say, no, they're increasing. They are increasing vastly. Who was saying that? Was that? Okay, that was Richard. Hey, Richard. Yeah, increasing, 100% increasing. They're like us. What do we increase? We increase like probably 200,000 a day or something like this. You know, with our count of 100,000 dying off or something. I don't know, I'm just throwing those numbers out there, but off of a 7 billion plus number, we increase a lot. Yeah, Meldrum. That's the guy who had the, you know, he took the dump and then seen, like, all that story. If he's the guy who took the dump story, you know, where he went to take a dump, his family was down below, happened to be able to come across this Squatch staring at his family, and he freaked out and stuff. I don't discredit that. You know, he's told that story so many times, trust me, he at least believes it, and I kind of believe it. I heard it from him a 7-year-old video, or, you know, or something like that, or it was fairly old video. And I believed his story. Anyways, believed it enough that, you know, that stuff has always made me worry too, right? But, like I say, with this other stuff, because I heard it was based on a head injury too, so I don't know if that was I was watching this guy who does some kind of a Bigfoot reporter or something like that. It was kind of, he does a comical kind of funny thing or whatever, so I don't know if it was legit or not. Hi, Sasquatch Outlaw. Hey, how's it going? You know, I think that, you know, this cave stuff's going to be big. I was big onto the underground and stuff, but, you know, cave is underground too, right? But just the straight underground, you know what I think sometimes? And this would work at that place where the missing lady went, or whatever, that I talk about sometimes. You know, I don't know if I should talk about it. But anyways, so also water. Like I've pointed, you know how an otter will dig his little hut, or a beaver will dig his little hut and stuff, and then the water does its rising and stuff. Well, it's not like it fills this big void with water in there. It only goes as high as the water goes in there. And I think they are inclined to use that advantage. And caving is a big one. And we're nothing but a big rock, really. All these countries that most of us are coming from, there's huge amount of rocks and such, right? So Dr. Johnson, Bigfoot, Mindspeak guy. Oh, okay. Yeah, Meldrum, I don't know about Meldrum. I think he's kind of an alright guy, isn't he? Isn't he kind of, he's down to earth and everything, right? He's big into the castings, Dr. Meldrum. But Johnson, is he the guy, he does the mind speak, he's the one who, but he says he's only done it like, I don't know, I've seen on this one show where he's only done it like 16 times or something. Meldrum's legit, yeah. The only thing about Meldrum, I'd love to talk to the man, because his conversation only gets to be about shoes, or about Prince. Like, that's so much of the issue with all of these, so many of these people out there, is we've been doing that since Patty came out. We've been talking about the Prince, and there is literally thousands of Prince. I don't have one. I don't care to necessarily have one, unless I would think it would bring me some money. You guys are still there because it's saying poor condition. It's flashing on me here. So, other than that, you know, I don't listen to many of them. You know who I would have liked to have met? I would have liked to have met, I believe his name was John Green, Canadian guy out of Harrison, right not too far from me, where I went to this Bigfoot Days up at Harrison there. They even talked about him there and stuff, and put out, you know, and they even write about him in their little brochure and stuff. So, and, you know, he's a book writer and their local editor, something like that, newspaper guy, forever there and stuff. But he recently passed away a year or two ago, so never got the chance to meet the guy. But where I'm standing today, I would have been able to meet him, because, you know, just being that connection of being a neighbor, and yeah, he just almost sounds like he's a very open-minded guy. Still here, right on, David. So, what do we got for a question? Any question? Any quick something? I don't know. Comment? Any comment about my work? John Green, yeah. Cool. Oh, you've actually met him. Nice. So Sasquatch Outlaw, then, you do, you know, forgive my ignorance, but there's a lot of people out there and stuff. You have obviously been in the industry for a long time, if you're meeting people like that, I would imagine. Yeah, it's, you know, the conventions and stuff where money gets to be there, and, you know, people get to, like, I would start venturing into figuring out how you think you can make money in this business, because this business is now, we all know, a multi-million-dollar business. And this is, you know, this is me trying to make myself be okay with, like, you guys have seen my sticker and stuff. I'm trying to build myself to be able to do something also, you know, and not think of it with a greedy kind of a mind with doing it. And so everybody should be doing that. Whether you're a seamstress and you can make really cool looking Sasquatch things, start freaking putting it on your channel, start putting it up on eBay, whatever type thing. That market is just going to go more and more. It's only us 100,000 right now talking about it. And we're talking in the multi-millions that this is. I don't know, is it $100 million business and stuff? I would imagine, close to or something. And it will get to the major hundreds of millions, and we'll get to the billions. We will have to start doing security. We'll have to start increasing different kinds of tree cleanups and all that kind of stuff. We will have to increase education. Yeah, I know. It's not necessarily about exploitation. That was because I said that because I always want to call you Brown Dirt. I'm sorry. Brown Dwarf just said, just make sure you pay Bigfoot his royalties. So, you know, because you guys say these questions here and then they don't come up, you know, if somebody happens to watch us, they're sitting there, why is Tin Man keep laughing at the camera? Conference in Idaho, okay, is where I met him. Cool. Belko? You're not talking about... That's not the guy who watches over the dams. No. Brown dirt is fine. Or brown is fine. Or even Mr. Brown. You're probably younger than me, though, I think. Because that was your son, I think, the other day there. Although I got... I don't know about you, Brown, but you're... Like, I got a couple of sons. I got a 16 now and a 19-year-old son. And a 17... Well, I can call her 18 now. 18-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old daughter, so... I'm at that kind of comfortable spot where they want their own lives. So Dr. Johnson now says they're beings of light. Oh yeah, the spiritual enter trees. Yeah, that's because people are just talking a lot about the trees during the day and come out on a Bigfoot at night. Yeah, it can't be, because you guys see how many times I get them on video. That last video, where I show the pictures and stuff, that is actually a 2-second clip on a video. I don't know if I should tell people or I should just make them sweat and try to find it. But it's recent, and it's awesome, and the video is a lot longer. And there's a bunch of grays in there that I just call grays right now. I don't have the equipment to make this TV go and I have this awesome thing. Although I do have some blowing up of those pictures now. I don't think you guys would be able to see them very good. You guys want me to pull out? I got a couple of pictures now where I've blown up his head. His head might be that big now. You want to see, or me not bother and see if you can see them right now? If somebody wants me to pull them out, I'll just take the second and grab them. Just in my glove box, Bill Co-Productions. Oh, I see. And friend doing and is putting together a documentary just about the research in Sasquatch. There's out looking and having interactions with the Sasquatch. I see. I've been capturing orbs at night and with flashlight and stuff, right? Like with light on and flashes and stuff. I don't get that stuff. Like, show them? Okay. I'll be right back. Whoops. I'm here. Okay, so what I got going on here is I have the two different finishes. This is the matte, and it is bigger. Okay, you guys try not to talk for a second so I can see good. Where will that go? There, it's going off. Where is it? See, that's a pretty big honking picture now. You see my finger right there? So that right in the middle would be nasals, right here, okay? That's the eyes, that's the brow, that's the top of the head. Obviously, this is kind of like a chin and stuff. Now I'm gonna grab the other one that is not matte. This one is the glossy. And it's coming from the other direction, so I can do it different here. I'm gonna see if that goes off if I tap it. No. So it's kind of just takes a second for me to be able to see, because, oh, there we go. You guys are seeing that, eh? You think I forgot? Okay, where are we? It's gonna be good in daytime. You guys see that a bit. These will be good in daytime. They're no good at night. So what do we got going on? Manny. How's it going, Manny? Who remember you? Are you asking me, or are you asking... I remember everybody. Rosenberg. Matt Johnson. Yeah, they're peakers for sure. That's why on the, that stuff that I just loaded today, I realize it's not very exciting stuff, but what that stuff does is it keeps us on an area. It keeps me on an area. It's my Popo clan, and it keeps me watching trees. It gives us history, so when science does want to come on board, if they haven't been looking at anything, if they have no clue on studies, now they can go on here, and maybe by then I'll have it organized up nicely and they can see multiple days. I'll be able to take clips, and you'll be able to do comparison. We'll be able to see the growth, the tree growth differences, and many things that are going on. Well, but I kid you not, man, like on my phone here, I do the triple tap and it goes and it brings in my picture very well, and then I can spread it in and out. When I watch some of those tree ones, when I got it good and stuff, even though it's fuzzier than fuzz, and I zoom it up like that, you can still tell it's a picture. You can still tell it's a tree. You can still tell, you can see blue sky through it. You can still tell, oh, those would be leaves. Or you can still tell, well, what the heck are these great big marks? Well, how come there's things moving around on the marks? How come a number of the marks look like this? Could you guys see me? There, my face went red for that one. Southern Oregon is hot. Yeah, and see, that's part of the thing is, like, we're in a pretty lushful place where we get enough rain that everything's beautiful, and then around towns everybody has sprinkler systems. We have no issues with water much, where all summer people get to water and just pour water into the ground all the time and stuff. They do it on a schedule, but we still have that opportunity, especially this year. I don't even know if they talked about water at all. So anyways, our trees are so lush and healthy, and then what they've done this year is gone into that stimulation that I talk about. Remember brown dwarf. And yeah, I've been to Oregon. I ran down to Oregon in 5 hours when my ex-wife, when we were together way back 20 plus years ago. And that was one thing I wanted. I said, my mom deserves to be able to be the first person to hear that you're pregnant. Let's go tell them first. They were down in Oregon camping. So we whipped down there and we come walking out to my mom and dad and got to tell them like that. And they thought we were crazy driving down there. Then on the way back, she got motion sickness. And then through the pregnancy was just sicker than a dog the whole time. And then every other 3 kids was the exact same, and she swore it was always because of that drive. So I guess I did get even. Nah, I'm joking, guys. But anyways, so yeah, lush trees, they love it. That's food, that's hiding, that's material, that's, start watching your trees when there's moisture big going on, because when there's moisture, a lot of moisture going on, is when they get a lot of luck with growing, because that's what happens with the tree. It's not necessarily, a lot of the water trees are just retaining a lot of water, so you just notice them, they're just blowing up like this, and they utilize that as, so even in dry or warmer times or whatever, that still can be feeding. Like, it's when you start watching the trees and you actually start studying them, like if you were, and I'm saying this again, a cannabis grower, they like to study their trees. They like to know almost every day. Some guys don't, but some are like that. They like to watch for bugs. They like to watch for health. They like to blah, blah, blah. It's the same particularness almost to put your mind at that spot for watching your own garden. Most people look out the window and see if their lettuce needs watering that day or whatever. They're not actually going over there, bending it over, pulling out the couple of browns and different things like this, right? So when you become that person picking at it like that and stuff, and you're registering, okay, I'm watching these growing cycles and stuff, that's when everybody will really start realizing that they are the gardeners to some respect. You're going to upgrade on equipment soon. Who's that? Are you referring to me or someone else? Well, I lost feed. Oh, you did lose feed for a while, eh? Sorry about that, Memphis. It's just my my connection is a poor spot. But if you're asking about me upgrading, you know, I can only do that someday when I start making money from doing this. But other than that, my equipment stays the way it is. I've been trying to work on a deal right now to see if this car that I have here, if I can make it work for switching over to a Class C van, you know, with it's a small van, a Chevy van, the full size, but with one of those small campers on it, so the Class C, so a narrow one, it's not much wider than the van. I just love it, so I'm really hoping that can work out. I need some new wheels. I need to be able to, you know, I've been in this thing, or I mean in a car now for what has it been? I think since December I've been living in a car. You know, that gets to be trying, right? Yeah, it is a good reason to make money. This is the only way I'm going to be, this is the only way I'm aiming to be able to make my money, though, is through this industry. I don't, I'm an injured guy that I know what I would be like with the rest of the working things. I would end up like this puts it, that it's fully in my power 100%. And I've been a self-employed guy my whole life, so I know what I do when I'm self-employed working for somebody. You know, so here I am, self-employed, working just for myself, hoping someday some of my stuff might be worth money, right? Oh yeah, I got a band of vibrations coming through my house where internet don't work, period. So you're saying you got the good internet and but it's not working? So what are you saying there, Brown Dirt? Are you saying that you've gotten something really good recently? Yeah, real house on wheels for sure, Mary. Yeah, Brown, which video is it? What are you talking about, dude? Should be bragging about your own video. Memphis, have you checked out his video where he's got the one where, you know, it's about a week and a half old, where he goes into the cave. It's called a cave or something like that. You go there and pay special attention when he's kind of in the midst of finishing walking to the cave and he's backing off from it, and listen to the sounds of the dripping water and listen to the dogs. He never seen the dogs. And listen to the dripping sounds. And those volumes are actually very similar in sound, if I remember even right, the drip and the dog. So, because you know, when I'm talking, for me to be able to drop my voice and then talk loud, you know, that's kind of a tricky technique unless you're really practicing it. Do they practice an out loud noise in different volumes? Think about that when you're listening to it, because that dog and those drippings might be at the same time. I mean, at the same volume. Yeah, you'll have to check it out. Well, it's kind of almost waterfallish. It's, as he's walking up there, it's just a little bit of a stream of water going, and he goes beyond that, and there's a cave, a low cave. And so obviously what I'm figuring is that cave probably does that, where it opens up on the other side somewhat. And so he's standing right there, and his son, you know, it's spooky, so there's nervousness in the air and stuff, and he's listening to the environment and stuff, and the noise that comes down from there. Trace it with his camera on the speed that he comes into the sound. Finishes with it where he makes mention of it and then kind of wants to get away from it because he's uncomfortable. You know, he's uncomfortable about that sound. His better part, intuition or whatever, is saying clear away. It's giving him a cool breeze or something. He's getting shivers. As he's going away, measure the sound. You'll notice that sound isn't fading properly. At the similar time there, a dog kind of pretty bright in the area too. So, and this is stuff that I deal with all the time, right? So I'm very speculating it. I think I only listened to it the once. I got to go back and listen to it again, but I jumped right out there with the information and thinking, because I've stood there a number of times now, like, you know, coyotes won't respond to you, and I've had coyotes respond to me many times and such, you know, and that's just not right. I mean, in recentness I have. I mean, as a kid and stuff like that, I'd never have had a coyote. I've got a couple of old hunting buddies in the past that I bet you I could get a lot of questions answered from them. Yeah, thank you very much, Dave. Even if I don't end up getting paid much for my videos, you know, I hope I'm kind of getting a good enough name in the industry that there will be a way for me to earn an income. The reality of how I would like an income, I'd like either a super rich person just come and say, hey man, do the work for me and blah blah blah, or I'll contract through the government, but I don't like piles of contract stuff. So that's that's one of the things. That's part of the reason why I just want to make it easy. Through the government, you know, I've understood that our government actually does have some kind of a program that they're willing to pay for this exact kind of evidence. So right now, what I really see is I see my portfolio growing very large in my evidence and information. What I have to do is now, in a lot of ways, just compile it, make it make sense, put together my, you know, like a kind of almost like an information kind of CD thing about it, and then go forward with approaching the government. Yeah, I guess they would own my work on some levels there, Mary. Mary's asking if the government would then own my work, and I guess so, but, you know, there's always ways around that. There's always, like, they don't own me, you know, so, like I believe a cop can actually have his own camera on him. He doesn't, you know, he may have, you know, in our area, they may have the ones they're issuing or whatever, but if he so chooses to, he could have that, and that's his information. So if we kind of looked at it like that, that's how I would want it too. So my research and so on and so forth is, yeah, sure, maybe super hot stuff for them. Because at the end of the day, what my YouTube really was about, Mary, was about me just having my channel and doing my stuff. So I haven't had a chance to calm down from this high of Bigfoot stuff in over a year and give myself that break to see what I'm really going to do once I get enough recognition. And the recognition is, it's nice when I see lots from you, but it really is kind of on a government level here in my country, right? I think it's what our governments are supposed to in part do. The government then will inform the police. The government then will make people listen and stuff like that once they're talking about the subject. Right now I go up to a cop and he says, yeah, okay, Tin Man, I'll check out your channel. And he walks away and whatever, whoever knows, right? But if the government starts talking about it, then they start putting it on their table, and people start, you know, being able to get together on it, because they're gonna, once they start getting together on it, we're gonna have a lot of information. Anything that you know, in my area here where they've really increased, tons of culverts got replaced, tons of you know, ditch culverts, a whole bunch of telephone poles got replaced. Different things like this goes on, like overpasses and bridges, the bases where they land on the earth part, for sure 100% should be not annually inspect, when we may even not get annual inspections. They got to increase on those kind of inspections, because that's what they do. They like to break away at our earth. They like to break away at our retaining wall systems. They will break our concrete. They won't just break the rocks, they'll also break concrete. Took me really a while to realize that part about the concrete before I was willing to say that they break the concrete, right? But Because it's hard to know. That's why I say it's hard to know. What are they up? Are they against us or what? Yeah, that's why you ask about the cover-up, and I get that, and there may very well be cover-ups, but I think there would be different people out there talking about it too, and I think hunters would be in that group of more stuff coming out. Any hunter just fluke, that we hear is kind of a fluky, weird story or whatever. We see timber giant Bigfoot. He a number of times or whatever comes across them by an accident. And the reason is because they don't give a shit in that area. They just feel as comfortable as they do. Are his numbers increasing and stuff? I'd like to know that, and I'd probably be able to tell by just, driving in there for a couple of hours. But, yeah, I don't know about, our governments are probably, Mary's saying the Canadian government may not cover it up as much as the US, but and on that level of information, I think they should be in cahoots, but yeah, in the US they hide everything. I hear you. We're just starting to talk politics, so that'll start getting me depressed. Yeah, in time for sure. It can't help but be in time, Mary. And that's why I'm in this gear still, is because it is in time. And I worry about their real reasons and their real thing about what their beingness is. And that's why I want that time to be sped up a little bit. And yeah, I don't know if we can actually do it, but I don't know. I got what do I got now? 1,520 subs or something like that now tonight probably. So I'm pretty happy. That's some people listening. Yeah, fly under the radar. Yeah, pretty much me too. I've got no forwarding address. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for hanging out. It was a good time. I'm going to, with those pictures there, I'm going to, with the bigger ones there, I'll have a couple of the smaller ones, and then the bigger ones, I'm going to do those up and put them on. You're welcome, everybody. Right on. Right on, right on, right on. Stay out of trouble.